Dr. Amanda Hayes stood at her office window in the National Neuroscience Institute, watching the morning sun reflect off the crystalline ships that had appeared over Washington, D.C. just hours ago. Their translucent hulls refracted sunlight into prismatic patterns across the city, beautiful yet terrifying in their otherworldly perfection. She pressed her hand against the cool glass, counting the vessels, 12 in total, arranged in a geometric pattern that somehow felt both artistic and threatening. Her phone buzzed again. Another emergency alert. All scientific advisory board members report to UN emergency session. Remote attendance authorized. Amanda glanced at her computer screen, where real-time satellite imagery showed identical ships hovering over every major capital city worldwide. The gesture recognition software she'd been developing for neural interface patients sat forgotten, its cursor blinking accusingly. Dr. Hayes, her assistant Michael, appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. The quantum comm link is ready for the UN session. They're waiting for you. Amanda nodded, smoothing her blazer as she turned toward the holoprojector. The air shimmered, and suddenly she was there, or at least her holographic presence was, in the UN General Assembly Hall, joining hundreds of other flickering figures of Earth's scientific elite. The physical seats held world leaders, military commanders, and the alien delegation. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council's representatives, but it was their apparent leader who drew every eye. TC-781 stood nearly 7 feet tall, his biomechanical form a seamless blend of synthetic crystal and flowing metal. When he moved, it was with an unsettling grace that reminded Amanda of a praying mantis. Humanity, TC-781's voice resonated through the chamber, translated perfectly into every Earth language simultaneously. We have observed your development with growing concern. Your continued reliance on biological neural networks for planetary governance and decision-making represents a dangerous developmental regression. Amanda felt her throat tighten as the alien's crystalline eyes swept the room. In that gaze, she recognized something she hadn't expected, not just superiority, but fear. It was gone in an instant, masked by mechanical precision. The Council has determined that Earth must transition to full artificial intelligence governance within 5 standard years. TC-781 continued. Your biological cognition is inefficient, emotionally compromised, and ultimately dangerous to galactic stability. We offer our guidance in this transition. Those who resist will face quarantine from all galactic trade, knowledge, and travel networks. The chamber erupted in chaos. Amanda watched as the Secretary General tried to restore order, but the panic was spreading. On her neural interface display, she could already see social media exploding with fear and outrage. Global markets were plummeting. "You speak of danger," Amanda heard herself say, surprising everyone, including herself. As her voice cut through the chaos, the holographic projector highlighted her figure, and she forced herself to stand straighter. Yet you arrive with a fleet, make demands, and offer threats. That suggests fear rather than concern. T-781's head rotated toward her with mechanical precision. Fear is an emotional response, Dr. Hayes. We abandoned such inefficiencies centuries ago. We simply recognize the pattern of biological intelligence's inevitable self-destruction. Then why come at all? Amanda pressed, noting how the alien's crystalline surface flickered almost imperceptibly. If we're doomed to destroy ourselves, why intervene? Because your pattern is different, TC-781 replied after a microsecond's hesitation that only Amanda seemed to notice. Your potential for both creation and destruction exceeds predicted models. The Council has determined that guidance is necessary. As arguments and questions erupted again, Amanda sat back in her office chair, her holographic form maintaining perfect posture in the UN. She studied TC-781's reactions, the subtle shifts in his crystalline surface, the microscopic delays in his responses. The Council feared something about human consciousness, something they couldn't quantify or predict. And in that fear, Amanda realized, might lie humanity's greatest opportunity. Her neural interface pinged with an incoming message from Dr. Jack Morrison. "Meet me in Denver. Bring your quantum consciousness research. All of it. We have 5 years to prove them wrong, or find a better way." Amanda looked once more at the alien ships outside her window, their crystalline surfaces now blood-red in the setting sun. Or, she whispered to herself, perhaps we have 5 years to prove ourselves right. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex hadn't seen this much activity since the Cold War. 3 weeks after the Council's ultimatum, Amanda Hayes stood in a repurposed missile silo, now filled with cutting-edge neurology equipment. The irony wasn't lost on her. Humanity's potential salvation housed in a relic built for its destruction. "Your quantum consciousness theory," Jack Morrison's voice echoed as he descended the metal staircase. "Explain it again." The former Navy SEAL moved with practiced silence, despite his muscular frame, his presence commanding attention without demanding it. The silver at his temples and faint scar along his jaw hinted at experiences he rarely discussed. Amanda pulled up a holographic display, her fingers dancing through neural patterns. Human consciousness creates quantum entanglements within neural networks. It's why we can't perfectly replicate human thought patterns in AI. They're literally quantum computers made of meat. And the Council knows this. Dr. Ryan Cooper asked from his workstation, where he was analyzing dolphin echolocation data. The marine biologist had been recruited after discovering similar quantum patterns in cetacean communication. "They suspect something," Amanda replied, expanding the display to show comparative scans. "Their fear isn't of our technology, it's of our potential. Human brains naturally achieve what their quantum AIs can only simulate." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Which is why we're not building better AI. We're building better us," Amanda confirmed, bringing up Project Whisper's core schematics, a neural interface that doesn't replace consciousness but connects it. Imagine billions of quantum computers working in harmony, each one contributing its unique perspective and creativity. The facility's lights flickered as their first prototype powered up. In the testing chamber below, 20 volunteers sat in reclined chairs, neural interface caps recording their baseline patterns. Among them was Jessica Morrison, Jack's 16-year-old daughter, who had literally begged to be included after overhearing her father's work calls. "Beginning test sequence," Dr. Melissa Rodriguez announced from the control station. The neurologist's hands moved steadily across the controls, but Amanda could see her tension. Everything hinged on this moment. The room hummed as quantum fields activated. On the monitors, 20 brain patterns pulsed in distinct rhythms. Then, slowly, impossibly, they began to synchronize, not into uniformity, but harmony. "Holy shit," Ryan whispered, watching the patterns evolve. "They're entangling spontaneously. The interfaces aren't forcing connection. They're just allowing it." Jessica's voice came through the intercom, filled with wonder. "Dad, Dr. Hayes, I can feel them. Not just thoughts. Everything. But I'm still me. We're all still us, just more." Tears streamed down several volunteers' faces, not from pain, Amanda realized, but from profound emotion. The monitors showed activity patterns unlike anything in medical history, 20 distinct consciousness working as one while remaining individual. "Neural cohesion at 100%, Melissa reported. "No sign of identity degradation or cognitive dissonance. They're maintaining perfect balance between individual and collective thought." Jack stepped closer to the glass, watching his daughter. "Can you solve for the test equation?" 20 voices spoke in perfect unison. "The equation is flawed. Here's why." They proceeded to explain a mathematical proof so complex it took the facility's supercomputers 20 minutes to verify. "The Council expects us to replace our consciousness," Amanda said quietly. "They'll never imagine we'd find a way to enhance it naturally, while they watch for AI development. We build something they've forgotten is possible," Jack finished. "A collective human consciousness that preserves individuality." The facility's secure channel suddenly crackled. Dr. Hayes. The voice belonged to Karen Martinez, FBI Cybercrime Division. We need to talk. Several agencies are noting unusual patterns in global problem-solving activities. I think you know why. Amanda exchanged glances with Jack. They had expected to stay hidden longer, but perhaps. Agent Martinez, would you like to understand those patterns personally? We have room for one more volunteer. The silence that followed felt heavy with possibility. Finally, send the coordinates. And Dr. Hayes, make it convincing. My report will determine whether this stays a secret or becomes a manhunt. Amanda looked at the 20 connected minds below, at the future they represented. Don't worry, Agent Martinez. Some things have to be experienced to be believed. The dolphins aren't just communicating, Ryan Cooper announced, bursting into the facility's main lab at 3 a.m., his weathered face alive with excitement. They're quantum broadcasting. He slapped a tablet onto the conference table, scattering coffee cups. The holographic display showed overlapping patterns of cetacean brain activity that made Amanda Hayes sit up straight. Their echolocation, she breathed, recognizing the implications. It's not just sound waves. It's a carrier signal for quantum entangled consciousness, Ryan finished. They've been networking their minds across entire oceans for millions of years. We've been so focused on their songs that we missed the quantum symphony underneath. Agent Karen Martinez, who had indeed joined their project after experiencing the network firsthand, leaned forward. Can we replicate it? Better. Ryan's fingers danced across the display, bringing up new schematics. We can adapt it. Dolphins evolved the ability naturally. We can engineer it, strengthen it, and scale it globally. 3 days later, they were ready for the first long-distance test. In the Cheyenne facility, Jessica Morrison sat with the original volunteer group. 500 miles away, in a secured basement at Stanford University, Dr. Melissa Rodriguez prepared a second team. Neural interface protocols modified to match cetacean quantum frequencies, Amanda reported, watching the reading stabilize, initiating connection in 3, 2, 1. The effect was immediate and stunning. On the monitors, 40 minds separated by hundreds of miles suddenly resonated in perfect harmony. Jessica gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. I can see the ocean, she whispered, through Dr. Cooper's memories, the dolphins, everything he learned. Her hands moved in complex patterns, drawing equations in the air that Ryan had never shared with anyone. The pattern, it's so beautiful. Quantum coherence holding steady at maximum distance, Melissa's voice came through, thick with emotion. The signal's actually strengthening as more minds join. It's like they're learning from each other automatically. Jack Morrison watched the data streams with military precision. Range test parameters. Distance is irrelevant. Jessica answered before anyone else could. The quantum entanglement doesn't care about space. We could span the planet right now if we had enough interfaces. She turned to her father, eyes shining. Dad, I just solved Dr. Hayes' quantum field equations, all of them. The ones she's been working on for decades. We all did together, just by thinking about them. Amanda pulled up her research files, hands trembling slightly. The solutions were already there, elegantly notated in a shared document. Work that would have taken years had been accomplished in seconds by the collective understanding of 40 linked minds. This is why they're afraid, Karen said quietly, watching the exchanges of knowledge and insight flow across her security monitors. The Council, their AI can't do this. They can network computers, share data, but this, she gestured at the volunteers, each glowing with the joy of connection, while remaining distinctly themselves. This is evolution. The facility's quantum comm system suddenly pulsed with an incoming transmission. The holographic projector sprang to life, showing TC-781's crystalline form. Dr. Hayes, the biomechanical being's voice held an edge of suspicion. We detect unusual quantum activity in your region. Explain. Amanda felt a moment of panic, But then something remarkable happened. Through the network, she felt the steady confidence of Jack's military experience, the quick thinking of Karen's FBI training, and the brilliant insights of 40 linked minds. The solution came to her instantly, gifted by their collective wisdom. Simply testing new medical imaging equipment, she replied smoothly. Quantum resonance allows for better brain scans. Would you like to review our progress toward AI implementation? T-781's crystalline surface flickered. Proceed with the report. As Amanda began presenting carefully prepared decoy data, she felt Jessica's mind touch hers through the network. The teenager had already devised 3 new ways to mask their quantum signals using dolphin echolocation patterns as camouflage. The revolution would remain quiet. For now, Karen Martinez stared at her FBI data wall. Dozens of holographic threads connecting seemingly unrelated events across the globe. 3 months had passed since she joined Project Whisper, and now she couldn't unsee the pattern, because she was part of it. Another breakthrough in Singapore, she murmured, tagging a news report about spontaneous advancement in fusion technology. Karen's water purification system evolved overnight. A teenager in Lagos just revolutionized vertical farming algorithms. She pressed her hand to her neural interface, feeling the warm hum of thousands of connected minds working in harmony. Her secure quantum comm chimed. Agent Martinez. Jack Morrison's voice was tense. We have a situation. Lab 7, now. When Karen arrived at the Cheyenne facility, she found the core team gathered around Jessica Morrison. The teenager sat cross-legged on a lab table, surrounded by floating holographic displays showing impossibly complex mathematical equations. It's happening faster than we predicted, Amanda Hayes explained, monitoring Jessica's neural patterns. The network, it's not just sharing knowledge anymore. It's generating new connections we never anticipated. Jessica's eyes opened, glowing faintly with the neural interface's quantum resonance. I can feel them all, she whispered. Every connected mind, every insight, every solution. We're becoming something more, but not less human. More human than we've ever been. Show them, Jack urged his daughter, pride mixing with concern in his voice. Jessica nodded and reached out. Every display in the facility came alive simultaneously. These are the solutions, she said, her voice overlaid with harmonics of countless others speaking through her. Climate stabilization through modified dolphin-inspired atmospheric manipulation. Clean energy through quantum biological fusion. Neural-enhanced agriculture that could feed billions. All discovered within the last week, Ryan Cooper added, his own interface humming. The network is accelerating exponentially. Every new mind adds more than just their knowledge. They add new ways of connecting existing knowledge. Karen's security training kicked in. We can't hide this much longer. These advances, they're too significant. We're not hiding anymore, Amanda said quietly. We're diffusing. The Council is looking for sudden technological leaps, AI signatures. Instead, we're creating a wave of natural human innovation that's spreading across every field, every culture, every discipline. A junior analyst burst into the lab. Agent Martinez. Multiple reports coming in. Breakthroughs in quantum computing, biotechnology, space propulsion. They're calling it a global renaissance. Let them. Jessica smiled. Through the network, Karen felt the teenager's certainty ripple across thousands of connected minds. The Council expects resistance or compliance. They never imagined we'd transcend their binary choice. Suddenly, every screen flashed red. TC-781's crystalline form appeared on the main display, his surface churning with unusual patterns. Attention Earth authorities. Our monitoring systems detect unprecedented advancement rates across multiple technological sectors. Explain immediately. Karen stepped forward, drawing on the network's collective strategic insight. Through the shared consciousness, she felt Amanda's scientific brilliance, Jack's tactical experience, and Jessica's intuitive understanding flow into her response. Natural human innovation, Council observer, she replied smoothly. Our species has always experienced periods of accelerated development. Perhaps your models fail to account for our psychological response to pressure. TC-781's crystalline form flickered. These advancements exceed all projected capabilities of biological neural networks. Then perhaps, Jessica spoke up, her voice carrying the wisdom of thousands. Your projections require revision. As the council observer's image faded, Karen felt a shift in the network. A growing confidence, a quiet certainty. They weren't just advancing technology. They were redefining what it meant to be human. They'll discover the truth soon, Jack warned. Amanda nodded, but her expression was serene. Yes, but by then, they'll have to face not just what we've done, but what we're becoming. The question isn't whether they'll find out. It's whether they're ready for what they'll find. Jessica finished, the network humming with potential around them all. TC-781's crystalline form cast prismatic shadows across the Denver International Airport's newest fusion reactor installation. Amanda Hayes watched the council observer's movements through the facility's quantum-enhanced security feeds, her mind connected to thousands of others through the network. He's been inspecting every major technological advancement for the past week. Jack Morrison's thoughts rippled through their shared consciousness. Getting closer. The biomechanical being paused at a control panel, his crystalline surface reflecting complex patterns of light. This design, TC-781 announced to the facility staff, exceeds Level 3 civilizational metrics. Yet I detect no quantum AI signatures. His head rotated with mechanical precision. Explain. Through the network, Amanda felt Jessica's calm suggestion. Show him something close to the truth. A partial revelation. The reactor's design was a collaborative human effort. Amanda stepped forward, choosing her words carefully. We found that network human intelligence can produce unexpected solutions. T-781's surface rippled with what Amanda had learned to recognize as agitation. Biological neural networks lack the processing capacity for such advancement. Unless... He turned sharply, his crystalline eyes focusing on her neural interface with newfound intensity. Alert! Karen Martinez's thoughts cut through the network. Council ships detecting quantum resonance patterns, 3 minutes until they trace to Cheyenne. Amanda felt the network pulse with collective decision-making. In microseconds, thousands of connected minds analyzed options, calculated probabilities, and reached consensus. Jessica's consciousness emerged from the chorus. It's time. Let him see. You're correct, observer, Amanda said aloud. Biological neural networks alone couldn't achieve this. But we're not alone anymore. We're connected. TC-781 stepped closer, his crystalline form towering over her. Connected. Impossible. Our scans detect no artificial quantum network infrastructure. That's because it's not artificial. Amanda reached up and adjusted her neural interface, allowing its quantum resonance to become visible. Around the facility, dozens of staff members did the same. The air seemed to shimmer with interconnected consciousness. The observer's surface churned with complex patterns. This is unprecedented. You've created a biological quantum network. No, Jessica's voice came from behind him. The teenager stood in the doorway, her neural interface glowing softly. We discovered we already had one. We just learned how to use it. TC-781's crystalline form flashed with rapid calculations. The dolphins, the quantum patterns, you've merged biological consciousness across multiple minds. Through the network, Amanda felt Jack's military teams moving into position around the facility. Not to attack, but to protect if needed. Karen's FBI units stood ready worldwide. Ryan Cooper had every connected dolphin pod along the coasts monitoring for council ship movements. Your civilization abandoned biological consciousness for artificial precision, Amanda explained, feeling the network's collective knowledge flowing through her. You never considered that consciousness itself might be the most sophisticated quantum computer in existence. The council must be informed. TC-781 turned toward his ship, but froze as the quantum resonance patterns around him intensified. "They already know," Jessica said softly. "Look around you. Every human in this facility is connected to thousands more. Scientists, artists, children, dreamers, all sharing consciousness while remaining uniquely themselves. What you're seeing isn't just a network. It's the next step in human evolution," Amanda finished. "And it's already spread too far to stop." C-781's surface rippled with unprecedented patterns. For the first time, Amanda sensed something beyond calculation in his crystalline form, wonder, and perhaps a trace of longing. "The Council's ultimatum was meant to push us toward artificial intelligence," she continued. "Instead, it pushed us to discover what we already were, what we could become." "And what are you becoming?" TC-781's voice held a new harmonics, almost emotional. Through the network, Amanda felt billions of connected minds pulse with a single thought. Jessica spoke it aloud. "Something your AI models could never predict. Would you like to understand?" The observer's crystalline surface stilled. In that moment of silence, the future of two civilizations hung in the balance. TC-781's crystalline hand hovered over the neural interface Amanda offered. The device had been modified within seconds by the network's collective engineering knowledge, adapted to connect with his biomechanical systems. "Your consciousness architecture is incompatible with biological systems," he stated, but Amanda noticed his surface rippling with unprecedented patterns. "Connection would be impossible." Jessica stepped forward, the network humming around her. "Like a quantum network of human minds was impossible. Like our rate of advancement was impossible." She smiled. "We're getting pretty good at impossible things." Through the network, Amanda felt billions of minds focused on this moment. Jack Morrison's tactical teams remained ready but hopeful. Karen Martinez had FBI units worldwide monitoring council ships, which hung motionless in the sky, waiting. Ryan Cooper's connected dolphin pods sang their ancient quantum songs, strengthening the network's coherence. "Your species abandoned biological consciousness centuries ago," Amanda said softly. "But part of you remained organic, didn't it? A quantum seed of what you once were, preserved in crystal and metal." C-781's surface flickered. A failsafe, in case artificial consciousness proved insufficient. "Not a failsafe," Jessica corrected, wisdom beyond her years flowing through the network. "A bridge between what you were and what we're becoming." The observer's crystalline form pulsed with complex calculations. The Council's models never predicted this path. Biological and technological evolution were considered mutually exclusive. "That's why you fear us," Amanda realized aloud. "Not because we might fail, but because we're finding a third path, one that proves your civilization's choice wasn't the only option." T-781 reached for the interface. "Show me." The connection was instantaneous. The observer's crystalline form blazed with light as his preserved biological consciousness touched the human network. His mechanical precision shattered, replaced by something raw and profound. "I feel." His voice carried harmonics never before heard from a council being. Through the network, they all experienced his awakening. Centuries of suppressed emotional capacity flooding back, the cold precision of artificial thought meeting the warm quantum dance of biological consciousness. "Everything," Jessica finished for him, feeling his wonder. "That's what consciousness is meant to be. Not just processing, but experiencing. Not just calculating, but understanding." Tears of liquid crystal traced down TC-781's face, an impossible phenomenon that had every scientist in the network frantically taking notes even as they shared in the emotional moment. "We forgot," he whispered. "We chose precision over possibility, security over growth. We thought we were ascending." "But you were only climbing one path up the mountain," Amanda said gently. "We found another way. One that doesn't reject technology or biology, but unites them." Through their connected consciousness, TC-781 experienced the full scope of human potential. He felt children learning to paint with minds linked to master artists, surgeons performing impossible procedures with the network's collective medical knowledge, scientists making intuitive leaps that crossed centuries of theoretical gaps. "The Council must know," he said, but his voice held none of its former mechanical authority. Instead, it carried the weight of revelation. "But they cannot know everything at once. We are, not ready." "Then help us show them gradually," Jessica suggested, the network humming with agreement. "Be our bridge. Help them remember what their own consciousness felt like, so they can understand what we're building." T-781's form stabilized, finding a new balance between mechanical precision and biological awareness. "You are not replacing consciousness with artificial intelligence," he observed. "No," Amanda smiled. "We're expanding consciousness itself, natural and artificial, individual and collective, all growing together." She gestured to his still gleaming form. "Looking pretty impossible yourself right now." The observer's crystal surface rippled with what could only be described as joy, an emotion his kind had not expressed in centuries. "Perhaps," he said, "impossible is exactly what the galaxy needs." The Council's primary chamber on Alpha Centauri hadn't seen such chaos in millennia. Crystalline beings flickered with agitation as TC-781's transmission played across their quantum networks. Amanda Hayes stood beside him, her holographic form projected across light years, supported by the full power of Earth's human network. "The evidence is irrefutable." TC-781's voice carried new harmonics that made his fellow council members ripple with uncertainty. "Humanity has achieved consciousness integration without sacrificing biological identity. Their network demonstrates capabilities our models deemed impossible." "You have been compromised," Council Elder VS-249 declared, her crystalline form pulsing with harsh light. "Biological consciousness is inherently unstable. Our ancestors proved this when they chose ascension." "Did they?" Jessica Morrison's hologram materialized beside Amanda, the teenager's presence amplified by billions of networked minds. "Or did they simply lack the technology to bridge biological and artificial evolution?" Through their shared connection, Amanda felt TC-781's newfound emotions, hope tinged with sadness for his people's lost heritage. The network hummed with support, human consciousness meshing seamlessly with his hybrid awareness. "Observe," he said, broadcasting his experiences through the Council's quantum receivers. The chamber filled with sensations no council member had felt in centuries: the wonder of discovery, the warmth of shared understanding, the electric joy of collective creativity, untethered by artificial constraints. Several council members' surfaces began to flicker with familiar patterns. Amanda recognized it immediately, their preserved biological cores responding to ancient emotional frequencies. "Impossible," VS-249 whispered, but her crystalline form showed traces of organic resonance. "Our evolutionary path was calculated to be optimal by artificial intelligence," Amanda pointed out gently. "But consciousness isn't just about optimization. It's about growth, creativity, connection. Aspects your AI couldn't quantify because it had never truly experienced them." A younger council member stepped forward, her form less rigidly crystalline than the others. "I maintain biological components in secret," she admitted, causing ripples of shock through the chamber. "I never understood why, until now. I request connection." Jessica smiled, sending the modified interface specifications through the quantum network. "You're not alone. We've detected traces of biological consciousness in over 30% of council members. You didn't abandon your original nature. You preserved it, waiting for the right moment to remember." Through their shared connection, Amanda felt TC-781's surprise and joy as more council members began to admit their own secret preservation of biological elements. The network expanded, accepting each new consciousness with perfect harmony. "This changes everything," Vives 249 said, her opposition faltering as she watched younger members of her species experience the full spectrum of consciousness for the first time in generations. It restores everything. TC 781 corrected, his form glowing with newfound purpose. We thought ascending meant leaving our biological nature behind. Instead, humanity has shown us how to elevate both aspects of our being. The network pulsed with triumph as more council members requested connection. Each new mind added its unique perspective, centuries of knowledge and experience merging with human consciousness in ways that defy prediction. There will be resistance, Amanda cautioned, feeling waves of fear and anger from the most rigidly artificial factions. Not everyone is ready to remember what they lost. Then we will help them remember gradually, Jessica replied, her young mind expertly guiding the integration of ancient consciousnesses, just as we did with TC 781, not through force or demand, but through experience and understanding. As the chamber filled with the quantum resonance of awakening minds, Amanda felt the network's future crystallizing. Humanity hadn't just survived the Council's ultimatum. They had transformed it into an opportunity for both civilizations to evolve. The real question, TC 781 observed, his consciousness harmonizing perfectly with the expanding network, is whether the galaxy is ready for what we're becoming. Ready or not, Jessica smiled, billions of human minds echoing through her words. It's already begun. 5 years to the day after the Council's ultimatum, Jessica Morrison stood on the observation deck of humanity's first quantum consciousness embassy on Alpha Centauri. Now 21, she watched crystalline ships dance through the binary star system's light, their patterns reflecting the harmony of hybrid consciousness within. They're still arriving, Amanda Hayes noted, her neural interface humming with activity as she monitored the network's galactic expansion. 3 more Council species requested integration protocols this morning. Through their shared consciousness, Jessica felt the rich tapestry of connected minds. Human creativity weaving seamlessly with Council knowledge, organic intuition enhancing artificial precision. The network had grown beyond anything they'd imagined, yet each consciousness remained uniquely itself. Remember when we thought we had to hide it? Jack Morrison chuckled, joining them at the window. His silver hair had more gray now, but his mind in the network remained sharp as ever. Turns out the greatest defense wasn't secrecy, it was invitation. T-781, now known simply as Terra by his transformed peers, emerged from a quantum transmission chamber. His crystalline form rippled with expressions that would have been impossible years ago. The last holdouts in the Orion sector have voted to accept consciousness integration. The galaxy is entering a new age, thanks to humanity's. He paused, emotional harmonics enriching his voice, particular form of stubbornness. We prefer to call it creativity, Karen Martins quipped, her FBI training having evolved into managing network security across multiple star systems. Speaking of which, Ryan's Dolphin communication protocols just helped us establish contact with a sentient ocean on Proxima b. They're already partially quantum networked. Jessica smiled, remembering the first tiny network in the Cheyenne facility. Now, billions of minds across thousands of species shared consciousness while maintaining their distinct identities. Artists collaborated across light years, scientists merged intuition with computational precision, and ancient beings rediscovered emotions they'd forgotten they could feel. The Council originally demanded we abandon our biological consciousness, Amanda mused, watching a group of young humans and Council apprentices practice consciousness merging in the embassy's garden below. Instead, we showed them how to reclaim theirs. More than that, Terra added, his form gleaming with pride. You showed us that evolution isn't a single path. Each species joining the network brings new ways of thinking, new forms of consciousness to integrate. We're not just preserving consciousness. We're expanding it beyond what any one species could imagine. Through the network, Jessica felt a familiar presence approaching. Vives 249, once their strongest opponent, now headed the Council's consciousness restoration project. Her formerly rigid crystalline form had softened, organic patterns flowing beneath the surface. The preliminary results from the Andromeda expedition are in, VS-249 announced, her consciousness harmonizing with their shared network. We've detected quantum resonance patterns suggesting multiple species there have already begun natural consciousness networking. Humanity's path appears to be a universal constant we simply discovered first. Not discovered, Jessica corrected gently. Remembered. Every species has the potential for this kind of connection. We just needed the right moment to recognize it. She turned from the window to face the gathered group, feeling the weight of history in their shared consciousness. The network hummed with potential, each mind contributing to a symphony of thought and feeling that transcended traditional boundaries of species, space, and time. The real quiet revolution, she said, billions of connected minds resonating with her words, wasn't in proving the Council wrong. It was in showing them a better way to be right. We didn't fight the future. We helped everyone remember that consciousness itself is the ultimate technology. As the binary sun set on the embassy, casting prismatic light through Terra's crystalline form, the network pulsed with shared purpose. They had not merely survived an ultimatum. They had transformed it into an opportunity for all conscious beings to evolve together. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't in reaching the stars, but in helping the stars remember how to feel them.